Hey everybody, welcome back to FeedbackLoop. I'm Joey,
And I'm Jeremy.
and we're back again, back at you, Season 2, Episode 3, doing
Yeah,
things,
we still don't have our intro figured out.
Yeah,
What our on that because we got in the groove of saying last week we listened to or
w-
whatever. We still don't have that figured out.
yeah, but we might figure it out, who knows?
Who
I'm not
knows?
gonna,
Or
I'm
we
not gonna say
won't.
we will,
Yeah,
so,
no promises here.
yeah. Promises, that was the song that Jeremy was singing right before
It was. Go check out Beach Bunny's Promises if you haven't.
Yeah,
Starting off hot with a wreck that I guess I technically did listen to it
yeah,
over the past, but that's not it's not on my list of things that I listened to. First of things that I did listen to on my list this week is Charlie XCX. She released a new album on Friday. It was totally not on my radar. I don't like keep up with her typically, but things I've heard her in I like. So I saw this album released. I checked it out. It's called Crash, and I think it just dropped on Friday. And I actually really like it. It kind of started off slow for me, but it's got some good fucking like disco-y groove to
nice.
some of the songs and some like electronic. It kind of hits a similar vibe to Tovlo for me, which I'm all about. So
Yeah.
it was fun to kind of just crash into Charlie XCX world for a little bit of time this week.
Yeah, I've never,
Last
like,
week.
listened to her stuff, like, done a deep dive, but she's been on some hyperpop stuff that I've
Yeah.
listened to, like, as a featured vocal artist or something.
Yeah, that's the thing. I feel like obviously hyperpop is trendy
Yeah,
or is getting trendy. I guess it is a trend,
yeah.
regardless of how big of a trend. I'm not really sure, but I could feel those vibes emanating throughout Charlie XCX's new album, but it's not as obnoxious to me as a lot of hyperpop tends to be. It's not as like loud and extreme, I
Yeah.
guess, which is the point of hyperpop. But it does take some aesthetics and some things from that, so it was fun.
Sounds fun. You know what wasn't fun? Uh,
Oh, you have a bad rec, an
no,
unrec.
it's not a bad wreck. It's just a sad wreck. I
I like sad recs.
so
I
the
am a sad wreck.
Yeah, that's my life. So the other week, not last episode, but the one before, I said I was going to listen to more of the Microphones / Mount Erie. I finally got around to it. I listened to The Glow Part 2 by the Microphones, and it's a nice, sad album that I really like. His solo project is called Mount Erie because there was a Microphones album called Mount Erie, so I decided to listen to that Mount Erie album. And then I ended up listening to A Crow Looked at Me again because I was
Yeah.
just like, I want to feel real sad. And then I did, and I did. So that was,
You mentioned that was more like kind of the quote unquote Joey music, like the bedroom kind of indie pop that you're kind of into, right?
yeah, the
Like kind of
Microphones
like
at
a
least.
Nana Grizzle kind of deal.
Yeah, I would say it's more like proto that. It's more, I'd say the Microphones are more in line with like Elephant Six type music,
Okay,
but a little bit folkier, maybe.
interesting. I'm interested just from the title, right?
Yeah.
Like Mount Erie sounds cool. A Crow Looked at Me sounds cool. And so like that alone has me interested, but the whole Elephant Six thing is kind of like pushing me in
Yeah.
a different direction. So I want to check it out, but I feel like I'm not going to be enjoying it as much as I expect to, if that makes sense.
Yeah. I'd recommend listening to maybe some Mount Erie stuff, not the Microphones, because the Microphones, like the Glow Part 2, it's like over an hour long. And if you're not into that type of music entirely, it's gonna feel long,
Yeah,
honestly. So
that's
I
fair.
yeah.
Speaking of things that we said we were going to be listening to, Radiohead
Nice.
came through. I listened to Amnesiac
Hmm.
as planned, and I know we talked about it a little bit, and you said that it was kind of like a brother sister album to Kid A, but
Yeah.
I did listen to Amnesiac, and I think it hit better than Kid A did for me. And
Hmm.
I don't know if it's just a timing thing or if it's the sound, but there's like I don't know. It's Radiohead. It's vibey, but I don't know. There's a lot of the tracks just like stood out. Like Packed Like Sardines in a Crushed Tin Box starts the album, and it's
Yeah.
just like yeah, that's a cool sound.
Hell
And
yeah.
there's just like it's constantly kind of they change it up as Radiohead does, but it like I don't know. I feel like it has a better tone or vibe than Kid A for me. So
Yeah, I feel like Radiohead's one of those bands that can change their sound so much that you can really, really connect with certain albums, and then other
yeah,
albums, it's like it just like you said, it just doesn't hit with you like how you really liked in Rainbows, but then you listen
yeah,
to Kid A and it's like, eh. Like I feel that way about like Pink Floyd, where there's like such a wide span of
yeah,
music that they've like released that you're like, I don't know, like I really like Wish You Were Here, but then I listen to Ummagumma and I'm just like,
yeah,
huh? What?
yeah. It's a totally different style. I would say In Rainbows is still above Amnesiac, which is above Kid A for
Yeah.
me. So maybe I'll pick out another
Well, there you go.
Radiohead album next week. But it's not my plans right
Yeah.
now. I think I'm good on Radiohead for a little bit.
Well, I also followed through on some plans. That Sudoku
Yeah, yeah,
guy
yeah.
that I was listening to that was really sample heavy and vibey. I listened to more of his music. I listened to, I think it was another EP, and then I really listened to the album that I had listened to. And I think I'm going to relegate it to like background music because it's it didn't hold my interest enough that like didn't hold my full attention in the
Yeah,
way that like I could really sit down and pay attention to it. And I feel like it's not the style of music that's really meant for that. But like if I have it on while I'm doing something, like while I was working, it was totally fine. But like if I was sitting down trying to listen to music, like I do sometimes when I play like RuneScape,
yeah,
I wanna put on music that's like keeping my attention so I can kind of just click and not pay attention
right.
to the game. But it wasn't that, but it's definitely cool vibe music. And then kind of rolling that into another, the band that I actually found Sudoku through was Bruiser and Bicycle. They had an album that I really liked called Woods Come Find Me, so I tried to listen to more of them. And they only had one other EP, so I listened to it. It's called You're All Invited, and I ended up liking that EP even more than I liked the album that I originally heard by them, which
Hell
was
yeah.
really nice. And it was only
Yeah,
5 songs, so that helped. It wasn't too
yeah.
long.
It's always exciting when when you're discovering something and you're like, "Ooh, I really like that sound," and then you listen to the album that song was from, or whatever, and you're like, "Yeah, it's cool that's there," and then you find something else from that band that is just
Hmm.
like better for you, and you're like, "Wow, this is great." That is, I think that is the pinnacle of what I like in music discovery is
Yeah,
just like finding something good, finding out it's part of a bigger equally good part of a piece of work, I guess, and then finding something even better in that same kind of zone. Because that's a good end point. I think not that there's really an end point in discovery, but like as far as that branch, I feel like it's satisfying to have something that's like this is the best of that kind of
yeah,
sound, or at least from that artist.
yeah. It's definitely like it's nice to find really really good music, like right off the bat. But there's something like you said so satisfying about like finding something and then it's like, but wait, there's more and it's
Yeah,
better rather
yeah,
than
yeah,
just like, oh, I found the like the people who you find like they have one single that's just like really vibes with you and then you can listen to a whole album and it's like okay, and then you find their other albums and you're like, oh, the rest of it sounds like this. Okay,
yeah.
I guess it's not as good as I liked that one song.
Yeah, there's definitely been times where I found a single and then been disappointed by the rest of the work, which is unfortunate, I guess. But I mean, it happens. I
Yeah,
guess that's why singles are singles, right? They put them out because they have the broadest appeal,
yeah,
typically, at least, and that's the one that'll draw you in and hopefully get you to find things that you like with the rest of the work, especially with pop. Speaking of things that just resonate right off the bat, though,
oh
uh,
shit,
today I listened to an album called Departure Songs from the band We Lost the Sea that
oh
Taylor recommended. Taylor
yeah,
mentioned that he was listening to it. And it's like this kind of post rock, kind of like vibey. I think you would really like it. It's very like it's almost Deftonesy,
yeah,
and I kind of almost recommended Loath's album that we talked about
hmm,
just because it's similar. It's not as it doesn't have all the grindcore and like the heavier elements of it, but it has a lot of the more like vibey atmospheric elements of it. And it's like 5 tracks or something, but it's still like an hour long. So they're
oh
like
hell
they're,
yeah.
they're long ass tracks of just like these flowing like audioscapes that have like some really cool like effects and guitars, and just at points it's like a wall of sound kind of shoegazy thing going on, but like very very surprising recommendation coming from Taylor today, and I was just like, man, this fucking hits
Dude,
immediately with me.
hell yeah. I almost actually listened to that because I was
Yeah.
like, I'm kind of in that field because my discovery this week has been so somewhere in my OneNote, which OneNote is what I use to keep all of like my podcast notes and stuff ready.
Yeah.
Ever since Jeremy was like, "Hey, you're writing your stuff down. Why would you do that? Just use OneNote because it's better."
Step into the 21st century, bro.
Yeah, so I did, and now I've been taking notes of literally everything. I have notes all over the place, and I
Yeah.
just found like music that it was just called music that I actually need to listen to. I don't know where this music came from, but I found it, and there was a band in there called Mesarthim. I think that's how you say it, Mesarthim. But I had literally no context for this because it was just a word written in there, and I
Yeah.
was like, okay, I'll listen to it, I guess. And I listened to their 2016 album Isolate, and it was like kind of in that shoegazy black metal vibe that we got from like Sungazer. Yeah,
Sungazer?
no, not Sungazer.
I always get it mixed up.
Sun,
Sunbather.
yeah.
What is the album?
Is the album?
Who's the fucking?
Oh my fucking
I
god!
can't think of it. You
Death
all know what
Heaven.
we're talking.
It's Death Heaven.
Yep,
Death
yep, yep.
Heaven. Yeah,
I always get
Sungazer.
Sungazer and Sunbather mixed up.
Which Sungazer, good band, Adam Neely's band. Go listen to
Yeah.
Sungazer. But yeah,
They released a new album this year, Perihelion. Very
they
cool
did.
album.
Go listen to that. Perihelion, wreck of the day.
Yeah.
But yeah, they had kind of that shoegazy black metal vibe, but they also had some heavy electronic sounds coming out of it. So it wasn't anything that like blew me away, but it was just nice to hear. It was a bit refreshing after listening to. I've been, especially with you, like getting the Pile, that new Pile show, this live stream. I've been on such a Pile kick, and I've been listening to literally nothing but like Pile, and occasionally I listen. I think I listened to Of Montreal recently, but that's been about it outside of my like discoveries that I've talked about on here. But this kind of finally drug me out of it. So I listened to that, and then there's a band that I've been wanting to listen to. Speaking of post rock for We Lost the Sea, there's a band called Godspeed You Black Emperor, and they're like, I guess they're underground, but they're pretty well known in the space. But they're like post rock, but more of a drone type of post rock.
Yeah,
And like, so I listened to their album, which is their big album, Lift Your Skinny Fists Like Antennas to Heaven. And it was a fucking trip, dude. It's 4 songs, and all of them are like 20 minutes long.
That's awesome.
And it's just this crazy, like, there's no vocals, but there's like audio clips, like field recordings of just people talking and stuff. And it kind of paints this like dystopian vibe. There's a point where like a recording of a supermarket announcement comes over, and it's like talking about like, don't feed the homeless people who are out in the parking lot trying to like wash your windows. And it's just like this eerie soundscape, and you talking about We Lost the Sea, kind of like, I don't know.
I feel like they're kind of similar in vibe.
Yeah, it like reminded me of that. So I'm definitely going to check out We Lost the Sea because I was super into Godspeed You Black Emperor, and I'm going to be listening to more of both of those bands going forward.
Yeah, I definitely want to swap there and take that album and give that a shot because I was super into We Lost the Sea. Something else that I listened to in the past couple weeks that it's the end of my list for what I've been quote unquote discovering. And the reason I say that is because I listened to Pimp a Butterfly by Kendrick Lamar, which I had listened to before and wasn't super into it. I mean, I think I understood kind of what was going on with it. I mean, it sounds different. It has a lot of like modern jazz elements that I'm not like super into. And I would we've discussed Kendrick Lamar a few times. I don't know if we have on the podcast, but we go back and forth about his albums. And To Pimp a Butterfly was one that never really clicked with me. But I went back and listened to it recently. I'm not going to say it is one of my favorite of his albums. I'm not there yet, but I definitely like it a lot more than I used to. I think I have a better understanding of it as an album and just the music in it and the flow of it. It is definitely a good album. solid all the way through from Kendrick Lamar, whereas previously I was kind of
Yeah.
iffy on it at best because it was just so like wild and different. I mean, obviously, like the target audience for that album is not a suburban white kid, necessarily. It's not like something that I can necessarily relate to, and I think that's also part of why it was never like
Yeah.
it never clicked, right? Because it doesn't fit that vibe for me. But yeah, To Pimp a Butterfly, I'm on board now,
Hell yeah.
whereas
Okay.
I previously was not.
That's good. Yeah, it's definitely, I think it's one that, I don't know, I think I was in the right place when I heard
Yeah,
it the first time, so it just like, I won't say it immediately was my favorite by him. It's still not my favorite by him. I guess
right.
I can't say that. But
You're a
it,
Section 80 boy.
yeah, I that see, and that's nostalgia right there, because
Yeah,
I feel like other albums of his are objectively better, but I just listened to Section 80 and I'm just like, fuck, dude, what a time in my
it feels like
life.
home. It feels
Yeah,
like comfort.
it was the cool thing at the time, and I was just like, this fucking guy is out here doing this shit. And it also like turned me on to Absol as well for the first time, which I really liked. Absol,
Yeah,
his newest album's kind of like okay, but his old albums were really good.
yeah. I've not dove into Absol. I've enjoyed him on things that he's been featured in.
Yeah.
Like Gorillaz has worked with him a
Hmm.
bit, and then he's been around the hip hop game for a while. And
Yeah.
I'm always like, yeah, that's cool. I like that. And then I never like dive into it. I feel like I'm like that with a lot of rappers, honestly.
Yeah.
Unfortunately.
I mean, I don't want to say like it's what to do, but like that's kind of like music that's. I feel like I'm not fully equipped to be able to like do a deep
Yeah,
dive on like finding good rappers in the way that I can do like plenty of other genres, because it's not, I don't want to say it's foreign music to me, because it's not. It's music that I've listened to for a long time, but like it's not music that I grew up listening to, because I
right.
grew up listening to like rock or pop-ish music,
Sure.
or like reggae. My dad liked Bob Marley a whole lot, so I listened to reggae.
Yeah. I think it's also possible that like maybe it's just an issue that's exacerbated in hip hop because there's so much collaboration. There's
Yeah.
always features. Like features in hip hop happen way more often than in any
Oh
other
yeah.
genre, I'm pretty sure. So I think maybe there's also just like more of them means more can slip through the cracks, I
Yeah.
guess, to some point. MF Doom, I actually hadn't listened to in a long
Yeah.
time. And when I went on my road trip last year, I put on a few of his albums. I'm like, yeah, this is cool. This is cool.
Dude.
I'm
Fuck
into
yeah.
it.
MF Doom.
I wouldn't like. It's not something that I find myself necessarily wanting to go back to. Like, man, I need to listen to some MF Doom. But like, I'm glad that I went through it when I
Yeah.
did.
I
It's
like
cool.
the music. I mean, I really like his like just everything about him, his personality, the way
Yeah,
like his rhymes is just like there's just so much fucking dense rhyming in there, where it's
yeah,
just like, and his voice, of course, but the
yeah.
music
He
more than
has a
anything.
character. Like he
Yeah.
is was I guess rest in peace a
Yeah.
character that was just like fully embodied it. He leaned into it, and he had such a distinct sound. And I think that that's cool that he was able to like set himself out from the crowd in that kind of way.
Yeah. Man. My my last, I guess, new discovery thing that I'll talk about is a mutual friend, John, just today, earlier today, uh, was talking about, he was listening to like a lo-fi radio or something, lo-fi hip hop radio,
Yeah,
and
who
had this
doesn't?
person, yeah, exactly. Uh, this person came on Fiendish. I think it's like it's the word fiendish, but without the second I. And I he said he was really vibing to it, so I checked out their 2016 album To the End, and I actually enjoyed it. Lo-fi
Hmm.
hip hop is something that I kind of avoided for a long
Yeah,
time, because the market was just so
yeah,
oversaturated, and
for
it
sure.
just like I dipped out a while ago, and I've been wanting to get back into it, because I started like discovering that type of music around the time that I started really, really getting into like, I mean, I had been into vaporwave and stuff for a while, but it was whenever I was trying to find like other genres of like vaporwave, how there's so many fucking branches, because like vaporwave is
Yeah,
kind of a satirical genre in of itself, and there's like specific like cyberwave and like plant wave and all this other fucking crazy dumb
Yeah,
shit.
there's very niche subgenres.
Yeah. But I found it whenever it was just a very specific time in my life when I found it, and I hated that I had to set it down because it became so watered down. But it
Yeah.
did become so watered
Oh,
down,
for
so
sure.
I had to
And it
get
all
out of it.
started. It all kind of just boiled down to the same shit. It was basically pop music, right? Where it was just
Yeah.
like so like calculated that it's kind of against the vibe. But I mean, not to say that any of it was unpleasant to listen to. I don't think, but there was just so much of it going around, and it was constantly everywhere. And it was just
Yeah.
like, okay, like yeah, it's fine.
It's like,
Kind
we
of a
get it.
thing.
You can make a slightly offbeat drum beat and then slow down a sample over that.
Yeah,
That's
and add
okay.
some like record crackling,
Yeah.
and you're good.
It's a total vibe. I get it.
It
I
is.
totally understand it. But it was just like, as someone who was really, really into that style of music, it just sucked to kind of see it like get sucked dry. But
Yeah, yeah, I agree. But I think I don't want to say it's necessarily on a downtrend, but I think things have chilled out a bit there. But next session, what are we looking forward to? I have one that's kind of tied in to something that I discovered this week as well, and that is a band called Cannons. Um, I heard I clicked because again I'm susceptible to good music video thumbnails. So Cannons, I don't remember what the single was called. They have a new album coming out on Friday, this coming Friday, I think. But their album Fever Dream comes out, and I want to check that out. They have kind of this like, it's kind of like an indie rock, but like vibey, kind of almost disco-y in some aspects, kind of like newer like Cage the Elephant kind of style
oh, hell yeah.
things where it's just kind of grooving and chill and just kind of going for it. But the music video for the song that I saw was kind of funny. It was kind of like jokey, but it was like very well produced. It was very flashy, and I was really into it. So their new album drops, I think, this Friday, and I'm definitely going to be checking that out.
Well, fuck yeah, dude. I listened to Thank You Happy Birthday today because I hadn't listened to that album in forever.
Hell
So
yeah!
maybe I'll be checking that one out too.
The single's called Hurricane, by the way.
Hurricane.
I just looked it up.
Okay. Okay. Yeah. Hurricane. I'm going to write that down.
There's another album coming out this Friday that I'm also excited about, potentially more excited about. I'm undecided if I'm excited about.
Oh,
I should say.
okay.
And that's the new Animals as Leaders album.
Oh, hell yeah. Okay.
Parhesia, I think is what it's called, and that also drops this Friday. And I definitely want to check that out because who doesn't love Tosin Abasi, right?
Yeah. People who've never heard of him, that's who
True.
doesn't
If you've
love him.
not listened to Tosin Abasi or Animals as Leaders, go do so.
Yeah.
It's mostly like instrumental, like I don't know how to describe it. It's very like experimental instrumental metal, but also like very like jazzy and just vibey. It's they're their own kind of thing. I would
Yeah.
recommend them.
It's like I feel like that type of music is how you had like the shred gods back in the 80s. It's like
Yeah,
the evolved version of that where it's like they actually, instead of just mindlessly shredding, they actually incorporate other musics into
yeah,
it and make something interesting. Like unlike fucking, I don't know, like Yngwie Malmsteen or something. Like
yeah.
that's the first shredder who came to mind where
Sure,
it's like,
sure.
okay, I get it. You can fucking play fast. Cool.
Yeah, they're all technically proficient in a way it's similar to like a lot of prog metal and stuff, I guess
Yeah.
now. But there's not usually vocals. I don't know if there's ever been vocals on an Animals as Leaders track, but it's just like it's so vibey and spacey and weird and like heavy and like funky and like they span a wide variety of sounds and stuff. And
Yeah.
Tosin Abasi's a fantastic guitarist, so
Hell yeah, he is.
pretty excited that they have a new album coming out.
Nice. Man, I'm not 100% sure what I want to listen to, like specifically. I know that, especially today, now that I listened to Fiendish, I want to
Mm,
try to get back into that style of music, that lo-fi type music, and see if anything's changed. Like you said, it's kind of on the downtrend. It's not literally everywhere like it was. So kind
yeah,
of see if maybe I can get back into it because I used to use that as kind of a gateway to find more unknown or lesser known artists that made like cool electronic music that I really liked. Other than that, I'm going to be trying that We Lost the Sea, and because I wanted to get more into Godspeed You Black Emperor as well. But
yeah,
I'm really looking for something that's just going to fucking break me. Like I listened to A Crow Looked at Me, and that almost did it. It didn't hit as hard I've listened to it plenty of times by now, so it's not like
Right.
the first time like the first time I listened to it, it's just like I want to recreate that feeling because I feel like I need it in my life.
Yeah.
And I was honestly kind of expecting Godspeed You Black Emperor to be it, because just the name made me think it was going to be like a heavier metal, like really intense dark thing, but it wasn't. It was dark enough, like it was interesting and cool, and I really like it, but it didn't hit that note that I wanted. So I'm still going to be chasing that. Instead of chasing that high, I'm going to be chasing that low.
Hell yeah, we all love chasing that low here at Feedback. I don't know why I said all. There's two of us. It's just me and you. We both like kind of chasing the sad boy vibes. The last thing on my to listen list, in addition to the aforementioned We Lost the Sea and Godspeed You Black Emperor stuff that is definitely intriguing to me, is a singer called Sigrid. She just goes by Sigrid. She's a Norwegian kind of electro pop singer. I found one of her singles. She has a new album coming out at some point this year. I couldn't find the release date for it, and I couldn't find the pre-order for it anywhere to confirm. But so I want to go back and listen. She has one other album called Sucker Punch. I want to check that out, and then I'm looking forward to her new upcoming album called How to Let Go, whenever that comes out. Just some kind of synth. I mean, I specifically like Scandinavian pop music, it seems.
Yeah.
I have a thing with Tovlo and Lickily both nailed vibes for me. And this is kind of, it's not necessarily similar, but I am similarly interested, I should say, in checking that out. So high hopes for that.
Well, hell yeah. You fucking Scandinavian right over there. You're going to move to Scandinavia one day.
I don't know what it is about Scandinavian pop, man. I mean, I'm not a huge fan of ABBA. So yeah. I guess I can't classify everything like Scandinavian pop's all good, but dude, I listened to ABBA's new album.
Yeah.
Correction, I tried to listen to ABBA's new album within, I guess it was a couple weeks ago. I think it was after our last recording session, but man, I couldn't do it. It was just so like bland and boring and just like uninteresting in every way. I told my friends that it was like a water flavored snow cone.
Oh my
just,
god!
Like you're wanting something good and you just get it. It's just like it's there. It exists, but it's not interesting in any way to me.
Poor
Pass
ABBA.
on ABBA.
Well, sorry ABBA. You might have peaked in like the 80s or the 70s, whenever.
Yeah.
Back then.
I don't know. There was nothing that stood out to me. It was like Christmas music, but less interesting than even that for me.
Oh god,
I don't know. It's not my thing.
Well,
big offense to ABBA fans.
Yeah, huge offense. All the offense on to ABBA fans. But if you are an ABBA fan, yell at us, please, in the comments somewhere, or just email us. I don't fucking know.
People don't email nowadays.
Yeah,
only businesses email.
Yeah, email at work all the fucking time. But get in touch with us. Something. Let us know what you've been listening to. Let us know what you are looking forward to listening to, and maybe you'll give us some good recs. And I mean, we hope to give you good recs, so return the favor. Don't be selfish. Don't just take all our recs and fucking don't give us any back. But
if you do that, that's fine too. I mean, if it helps you find shit. But we also want shit. Give us shit. Give us good shit. Give us sad boy shit. That's what we're here for, man.
That's what I'm all about. I don't have anything else because I'm all out of it. But
we're all out of it. We don't have a good sign off yet either. So I guess until then, until we have something better, until we come back with more Rex, and until you guys give us more Rex, stay in our feedback loop.
Bye.